So many hours, I can't take it anymore. I was only about 3 hours in the front today.
Lucky to pick the west side on this morning, but it's changing.
Well, I don't know.
All right, don't these guys mower.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go ahead. All right, we're gonna call the meeting to order at 6:30. Mayor Luma.
Here.
Ball. Here. Miller.
Here.
Nichols. Here. Walty.
Here.
Weinberg. Here.
All right. I've got one person interested in the new open council seat, and we're going to now appoint him as Matt Hudson. Do you want to come around here and swear you in?
You're being sworn at, I guess.
Welcome, Dave. Raise your right hand. Okay, I, Tom Hudson,
I, Tom Hudson,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of
and
Ohio,
will faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge
and will faithfully, honorably, and impartially discharge
the duties of the Village of Waynesfield,
the duties of the Village of Waynesfield,
our Village Council, I'm sorry,
Village Council,
of the Village of Waynesfield
Village of Waynesfield,
and all Waynes County,
and
Ohio.
all Blaze County.
Okay. Sign it.
Welcome, Tom.
Remember where he signed. Okay, you'll sign right there on that one.
Okay.
Up one, you, and then you go ahead and have a seat right there.
All right, thank you.
All right, now I'm going to turn this meeting over to Aaron.
The other half part of this meeting was we are moving forward for East Woolfolk project. We have been approved for OPWC money. We do need a resolution tonight, pass an emergency to go ahead and go forward for CDBG funding to the county. So that's the biggest reason.
I'm sorry, Aaron, did you say we have been approved?
OPWC, yes,
Has been approved.
yes. And CDBG, we need the resolution to move forward to go for funding for it.
What will be our matched amount?
500,000.
500,000.
It'll be very similar to West Woolfolk. We're not 100% certain. It depends on where the funding comes in at to, as far as how far we go. We're hoping to at least have funding to get to Safe Green,
Safe, okay, yeah.
where the old Safe Green building is.
Is there some paperwork for Tom? You got an extra paperwork pack up there, Tom, for Tom?
Aaron, can you tell me what those abbreviations stand for?
Community Block Development, thank you. Great.
Okay, but what was the other? Oh,
OPWC, Ohio Public Works Commission.
Will there be funds inside this grant to repair some of the other streets?
So most generally, you'd use it like you would use this one, that if you don't use all of it or they come in under bid, there'd be extra monies available.
Because and I'm not saying, yeah, you're nay to this, but, you know, we did that Ohio pavement analysis, and I did a little math last night, and we have $220,000 worth of roads that are at 59% or less. And so I know that this is the completion of the four ways doing that, but I also think we need to start thinking, folks, about what we're going to do with the roads, the secondary roads that are literally falling apart. And it's going to cost us another $500,000 to do that road, and I'm not sure when that was last done, but I know part of it was done less than 30 years ago.
East Woolfolk?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm pretty certain it's been overlaid since before 30
Because
years.
there is gutters.
Yeah.
I mean, there
Just like with this project, we've got portions of Mulberry Street that we milled all the way down to sub-base, portions of Tusing Street that we milled down to sub-base. Those were high-end, low caliber on the scales.
Yeah,
And then
those were some in the red.
There's 2 other streets that, once they get the latest pay app in, we have blacktopper coming in at 12, to put the top coat on. That's when these other streets will be paved. They're, depending on where the funding or where the last pay app is, there's a good chance that there's 2 other streets will be done in town.
So we're gonna have a total of only 4,
Mm-hmm.
4 streets out.
But 2, Sunrise Drive and Morning Glory are the other 2, and those are very large roads. There's not been, short of maybe a little bit of cracks, and I don't think there's been anything done in that subdivision since it was put in.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that's listed.
Mhm.
Are we doing anything with Cherry Street South, Main to Ohio Street, that's at 45, and Silver Street North, Westminster, and it's gravel, and that's at 40%. Those are 2 that are marked as very bad shape.
Mhm.
So I'm just bringing it up because,
Silver Drop is pretty decent, right? Yeah, roughly.
yeah, because, you know, we're gonna spend another $500,000 for a road that is functional, and I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, but I do believe the council, we gotta start thinking about our secondary roads. That's just my opinion. So,
And the question that the engineer asked me this week was, you know, how close do we want to get to using that full 500? There's no, the blacktopper are coming the 12th, and we don't have all the pay apps in, so you don't know exactly what dollars are going out of this project yet. And he asked how close he needed to be, and I said, well, we do have some money in the street fund that if you're, you know, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 over, we can take that out of the street fund and use as much as we can. So.
but you're only slated for 4 of these streets, the
Mhm.
Sunshine Drive one,
Morning Glory.
Morning Glory, I'm sorry.
With West Mulberry, East Mulberry.
It'd be West Mulberry to where they're gonna start at the dead end of it
Okay.
and then go to where it flares out, because where it flares out is in a lot better shape.
Right.
All of, Tussing is gonna be repaved. They
That's
took out
the one where we
connector.
had the huge pothole.
the connector in between Wayne and Maple.
I'm gonna be able to fix that grade,
Yes,
okay.
yep. And then in this resolution, it's not just East Walpole, it's East Walpole, Wayne, and Maple.
In this,
Mhm. So in those dollars, you're gonna catch 3 streets, not just 1. And if bids come in as attractive as they did this time,
but we're not doing anything with Silver Street or Church Street. Or, well, we're doing Mulberry Street, you said.
So there
I'm
wouldn't
sorry,
be any more.
Church Street, Silver Street are the ones that are the worst. Mulberry Street was listed, as gravel, so that needs to be fixed. I'm just saying, we paid to have this done, and I feel like, you know, we need to think about that as we move forward.
Yeah, the resolution in front of you is for the other portion of the funding for East Walpole and Wayne and Maple Street. I think it even says Wayne and Maple in there. It might just say the East Walpole project, but in the East Walpole project, it states those other 2 streets, so.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 6-1-23.
Wait a minute, we have to do emergency vote first.
I'll make a motion to do an emergency vote. Pass resolution 6-1-23.
You have a question, Lucian. What's the deadline?
What's that?
What's the deadline?
You have, I believe, 2 years. The funding's good for, it's either 2 or 3.
What's the deadline for this application,
The 7th.
of June?
Mhm.
So we could act on this at our,
No.
no, at the May meeting?
No.
No, we're into June, I'm sorry.
Had we not,
I'm confused about the ending of May, I apologize.
had we not had to move the meeting up in May, this would have hit right then. No,
Mhm.
that's just what happened.
We'll get a second.
Need a second?
Oh, for the suspending the rules.
For three readings, yeah.
I'll second.
Ball. Yes. Earl.
Here,
I'm sorry, Ball, Miller,
Yes.
Nichols,
No,
Walty,
no,
Weingarten.
Yes.
Hudson.
Hudson.
Yes.
Can we call a second? Second vote?
That was just the suspended, the 3 readings and declaring.
I did what you correct.
Sorry.
Was that 3-3?
4-2.
4-2?
4-2.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, now we need the motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 6-1-23. A resolution authorizing application to Albany County for a CDBG Community Development Critical Infrastructure Program for the funding of the Village of Waynesfield Improvements Project and declared an emergency.
We're done now.
Mhm.
I'll second.
Come on. Ball. Ball. Abstain. Miller,
Yes?
Nichols,
No,
Walty,
no.
Weingarten.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
How'd you vote?
Abstain.
Okay.
I don't like being the first person.
These should go out in better, that's for you, for your first.
I know, but then it puts me in a, let me go with wiser minds.
Doesn't pass.
Yeah. It's majority, correct?
You have a question, can we back out this if we get to a point?
I believe so. You're just asking to get to move forward for the funding.
Yeah,
You know, you're basically saying no to $500,000 free loan.
I understand that, but I feel that there's gonna be expenses coming that we wish we didn't do this.
It'd be another $16,666 a year.
the only thing, Tim, section 3, read that,
What,
of the resolution,
section what?
section 3.
Is this gonna be, addressed just for,
Walpock, Maple, and
Wayne,
Wayne.
you have to have the traffic, there's a whole lot of things that go with this to get enough points to get the funding. That's why you go for your main roads first. You're not going to get this type of funding for side roads. The side roads is what you use your tax money for and things like that, that you use. You know, if you bring in, hypothetical numbers, if you bring in $30,000 a year and you spend $10,000 a year and you build that fund up, and then in year 2, 3, 4, that's when you can spend your $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 on resurfacing. It's cheaper to do any project today than it is next year, or 2 years or 3 years down the road, just because of inflation and the price of materials.
I guess my question would be, and I don't see it because we don't have whiteboard, dollars and cents, how much do we bring in and how much are we taking out of the economy of Waynesfield? Are we just getting ourselves deeper and deeper in debt? And I'm thinking about, I guess we're okay with the grid?
Well, that would come out of the electric, not the street fund.
Well, I'm just saying, it's the debt that possibly will be,
Mhm.
so.
But we more than likely cut the electric in half at minimum.
Right, but
What-
again, what's the income versus the
Mhm.
output, and where are we with those figures? Because we're just adding another loan to the debt that we already have. So am I off the wall to ask that
What
question?
fund does the $500,000 come out of? And will we have to take another loan to come up with that $500,000?
The 500,000 is a loan from CDBG at 0%.
At what percent?
0%. I'm sorry, the CDBG is a grant of 500,000. The OPWC is the $500,000 match.
And that's what I'm saying, we're getting, our match money's coming from the grant, is what you're telling me, that we're,
You know, the 500,000, so just like with this project, if we wouldn't have paid the other streets, you would have had not tapped into that whole $500,000 loan at 0%. The OPWC on on West Walk was $500,000 loan, $500,000 grant, and $750,000 grant.
so we would be adding $500,000 to the $1.4 million that we're already in debt.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
That's our total indebtedness right now, is $1.4 million.
That's
Now-
my concern.
Now, Mike, granted, government runs, just like the federal government, runs on a debt ratio. You know, we have never run on a zero, no debt. I don't know any municipalities that does, but what, I think the question for me is, where's the tipping point? Where is our debt ceiling, I guess, if there's any other word for it, that's all I can think of. Is where do we stop and say, wait a minute, it makes sense in some ways, in my mind, that we have to do these main roads, but at the same time, I guess my question becomes, the CDBG grant money, could we get a $500,000 grant from CDBG monies to fix the secondary roads?
I don't think you get the points out of it.
I'm sorry?
You won't get the points out of it. Those two funding sources are for your high traffic areas. You have to have a traffic count, and then your critical is for the storm and the water. Not every side road has water on it. Obviously, not every road has curb or storm on it, so that right there takes points away. That's how it's always been explained to me with Craig and other engineers.
But then we get that type of loan for that street that don't exist, North Third Street, was it the street?
Yeah, that
Well,
was,
that street is not.
That was an OPWC grant.
Okay.
But there was match monies from somewhere, because that was a total, and I don't have that in front of me because we weren't going to talk about it. But that was, you gave me the resolution for that. It was a resolution in 2016 to make that application, and I think the total amount was $80,000 for that. And that actually was Park Street and Ohio Street.
yeah, I believe it was a 90-10 match, that's why it was 80 grand, and 10,000
Right.
loan.
$10,000 loan, $70,000 grant, or whatever.
Mhm.
And so $80,000 was spent for Ohio Street, West Ohio Street, and Park Street, the entrance between the Memorial, the main park entrance there at Southwest Minster, is the way I understood it, from the application that the OPWC gave me. But anyways,
And there's going to be infrastructure with this road on East Walpole. It'll have water main, it'll have storm, and any sewer issues will be addressed at that point. Those all come out of those funds towards that. So to say you're getting, 1.5 just for blacktop, that's not
No.
the case.
it's the same as what was happening on north and south and east, the four quadrants. This would be the completion of the four quadrants of the village.
but are we having problems with that area?
And I know I voted no, there is a huge water issue over on that side of town. But I don't know
If
that
that
just
was
putting
something-
gutters and are we gonna put storms in?
That's still in the engineering portion of it. Last time I talked to him about that, they're pulling topos and everything else for to see how and where things would.
I mean, if they're putting in, if we can say to the residents, in my mind's eye, if I can say to a resident, no, we're not fixing the road, but we're mitigating the stormwater that's on that end of town, that seems to be a lot more palatable than just, well, we're making East Wapatetta Street look pretty again.
Well, you are putting infrastructure because you're putting water in, and there will be some storm. Because wherever there's catch basins currently, that'll all have curb and gutter and
Right,
new catch
we're not putting
basins.
any, there'll be no new storm going out south off of West Wapatetta Street.
I think, again, that's where he's at now to see which direction. We know it goes south, we don't know which direction it goes south. If it goes out to the gas station and around, or if it goes through town. The other thing is, it'll need to be looked at to where, where it goes out of town, what size that tile is, because you can't bottleneck it.
Mhm.
You can't put a bigger tile just to blow out older tile in someone's field.
See, my concern is the future and the funding of paying the bills. Just like we talked about there, what if it is all, well, we can't do this, can't do that. So we got a new road, but the infrastructure is not much better than what it was, without spending more money.
Well, I think to that would be there would be new water lines.
Mhm.
So you are getting new infrastructure out of it. The storm, the minimum on that street would be new.
So would it help Lois's property?
I'm not really worried about
We
it.
don't.
But I'm just using
We're
that as
too
an
early in the
example.
project, we don't know.
Okay.
It's been asked.
I mean, that's the only that I know in that area.
Well, no, I know there are several residents along that area that talk to me, it's not just that one, I wouldn't. There's a lot of water.
I'm all for it, but I'm just concerned about the money.
Mhm.
That's the only thing.
Will it make our debt so that we still can pay our bills?
How much annually will the amount that we will need to pay, it'll be over, what, 30 years?
Yeah, it's 0% 30 years.
And how much?
16,666.
16,000,
666.
666, so 16.
500,000 divided by 30 with no interest.
So $16,000 more, that would come out of, streets, sewers, and water.
Mhm. And also we have state highway fund, that can only be used on state highway, which we dipped into that one, West Walpole, but there's still money's there.
I don't know what that balance is currently, do you have a clue?
No, not without having.
Sarah, do you have a clue what the balance is on the state highway fund?
Not right now at this time.
The other
I can
thing,
look.
Do we have a paper from last?
Appropriation status, I didn't bring mine.
well, the other thing, you're gonna have, you've got North and South Westminster. I don't know when they were done, but those were 30-year notes. Those are gonna be coming off.
That's only, those were probably done in 2008, maybe, Tom, do you remember? Because that's the right,
I remember watching it,
it had to be it was after 2000, I know that. Because
Like south?
yeah, south.
No, I was still down there in 95 and it was done then.
Oh, wait
I was on Department No. 3, and it was while I had just started police
a
department.
minute. Listen to,
It's
because
4 or
it
5.
was after,
done.
the only way I know is after I had my cancer surgery. I had my cancer surgery in 2000, and I knew it was after that.
I was on the police department. I started in the police department in May of 2003, and the South Westminster project was after I had started in 2003.
I'm gonna say 2005 or 2000. If I had my audit, I could tell you, but I don't have it.
Megan was still living at home and she got married in 6.
Mm-hmm. 2004, 5, 6, so 30 years on that.
We're halfway point.
We still got 15 more years. And then, in North Westminster Street was after or before, I forget. It was
15
before.
or 16,
It was,
I think.
it was after, yeah.
a motion to adjourn.
No, wait a minute, Rodney, please. I don't wanna lose this money, but at the same time, I think we have to have a healthy discussion about how we're gonna address these secondary roads. And
Actually, it's not on the agenda.
I'm sorry,
That's not on the agenda, we have to do that.
I know that, I'm not saying that today, I'm saying in the future that we have to have that. And I will make a motion to reconsider this resolution.
But it'll be too late.
No, we can reconsider it,
It's already
we can
passed.
do a revote,
It's already passed.
I think.
It's already passed.
It passed? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't think it passed.
We had, what was the other street beside Morning Glory? Sunrise Drive, okay. Portion of Morning Glory and Chestnut, okay, yeah.
Maple. This
Then
one,
we got Maple and Wayne with the CDBG money.
make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Ball,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Walke,
Yeah.
Weinberger,
Yes.
and Hudson.
Yes.
I need to ask you a question.
Hmm?
I need to ask you a question. Zoning question.
How you doing, Tom?